Welcome to Psyched by MG. This is Mary Grace Randazzo-Ratliff, or MG for short. I've been a psychotherapist in private practice for 32 years now. Guess what, everyone? We all have issues. So it's time to lighten up and move forward. Let's stop letting our crap control us and take control of our crap.
Hey, that's a catchy tune.
Hello.
Mary Grace, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm glad we're back. We're the Friday again. It seems like these Fridays are coming like every other day for some reason.
It does, doesn't it? They're kind of coming up quick.
Yeah.
They really are.
It's okay. It's better than I'm, feeling like a month away, but.
Right. That's true. Of course, now we're doing it every week, so people can hear us every Friday at 6.
Yep, every Friday evening.
That's right.
Or anytime thereafter, because you can get us anywhere now.
Oh, I know.
Yes. All your major podcast networks, iTunes. I'm going to forget to list some of them.
Did Spotify
Jamie can help us. Jamie will help us with that.
Yeah, Jamie will have to help us to know if Spotify opened up and Pandora opened up yet, because Apple Podcasts did. So we are now available on Apple Podcasts.
Yes.
Where all podcasts are sold.
Yeah, that's what I kind of said. Wherever you can get a podcast, we're probably there.
Really?
Yeah.
So
unless it's your neighbor's basement.
Yep, I just checked the Google one is working, so Google Podcasts is working, and Apple Music.
Hey.
And so so it's moving. It's spidering out to all corners of the web for you.
Oh,
fantastic!
Awesome.
So find us here on Fridays, or look for us anywhere afterwards, and you catch the whole thing.
Oh,
or re-listen to it.
Yes.
In case you want to hear us extra.
Yes. And next week we have Jed Diamond on.
Absolutely.
Looking
forward to that.
Oh, I met with him today. He's, all the books he's written in Enlightened Marriage, Irritable Male, and so many others. He has the website. Oh my God, I just lost it.
I think it's Irritable Male. Isn't the website that?
He also does Men Alive. There's not the Good Men Project, Men Alive, I think it's called. And I'll clarify that. It was on our last podcast, but I'll clarify it. I just drew a blank because I was just talking.
And I wish I would have. I mean, he's got a ton of books, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of. I've read a couple, but in order, I'm not going to be able to catch up with all of them in a week. So I'll have to do some quick notes on a lot of those.
So much, and I'll shoot you some of his articles too.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
He writes for the Good Men Project, and he will be on, and we're going to talk about, speaking of men, and we have a lot of men who listen to this podcast. I don't know if you've looked at the data, but we have more men than women.
I have not looked at the breakdown.
Oh, a lot more.
But I think men would be like, I ain't listening to you no more.
Not at all.
I'm not bashing men. I am one, but
Not at all. And so we decided today that we're going to talk about what men are really going through, especially with this pandemic and all of the stress and everyone being on top of each other in their homes. As you know, domestic violence is up.
Mm-hmm.
Alcoholism is having a real serious problem right now. Couples are fighting more.
I was just going to say, even basic disagreements and basic conflict. I'm seeing a lot of that now, just because people aren't used to spending this much time together.
Yep. And so we're going to really explore that. And he has 50 something years of experience.
Mm-hmm.
We think we have a lot.
Yeah.
He is just
like I called him last week. He's a bit of an overachiever. I mean,
yeah, no kidding. Oh my gosh.
I'm working on book number 1. He's got 50? I don't know. Whatever.
He's got at least, I think it's 17. But and I also talked to Denise Brennan, who's got, 17 children's books under her, and she's going to be on the show soon. I got to email her. I forgot today.
Yeah. Some good guests coming up.
We do. I'm so excited. Well, I picked this subject today.
Okay.
And it was so funny. I was talking to a physician's family members, and they coined this so well. They called it the COVID-19.
Yeah,
And
I've heard different numbers attached to that, but yes, I
yeah,
know what you're
the
talking about.
19 pound, it's kind of like the freshman
Yep,
15.
yep.
And so I don't know about you, but the eating is not easy to control. I'm overeating like heck
Well,
during this
and you
darn.
know what the odd thing is? Because, and again, I am still working, but it's not nearly as much, and I have more
Right.
time, especially on the weekends. Honestly, we are cooking more than we ever have, but that's
Oh,
but
yeah.
but the thing is, I don't want to say it like this, is it's good if you cook your own things. It's much better than fast food or
Yes.
something like that. But we're making good meals every day, so I just eat everything,
I
and
know.
like,
I know.
and
I
it's to the point
it's
where even at home we're like, oh, I'm making dinner. Should I make a dessert too? No, it's like, oh my gosh, I should open a
that's the
small
problem.
restaurant.
It's seriously, it's the cooking,
Mm.
I'm getting into the breads and the soups, and I made a whole turkey dinner a few days ago. Like I was saying on another podcast, biscotti. I've made biscotti like 7 times. We've been off 6 weeks, just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Biscotti, if you're not Italian, you say biscotti. But they're these
Yeah, so I say biscotti because yeah, I'm not Italian.
biscotti, yeah.
Say it the Irish English way. Say
Yeah, yeah.
biscotti.
Yeah. So, but the food, oh my freaking God.
Oh, so let's go back to the term, the COVID-19 19 or the
19,
freshman 15. What we're talking about is weight, is weight
weight
gain over
gain.
this pandemic. And
That's right. We're
I'm sure
talking
people
about
could have deduced that, but just to kind of clarify and be so yeah,
yeah.
we're going to take a look at eating habits
Yes,
and
yes.
weight gain. And again, all of these things, as everyone I'm sure can guess, that they affect your self-esteem and your confidence and your
They do.
it affects really most areas of your life.
It does. It does. And we're going to talk about cycles with that too.
Perfect.
So there's something, I've always had to work on weight issues and control binge eating or compulsive overeating. And there are foods, and I want to know, Dave, what foods are your trigger foods? And so let me define what a trigger food is. A
Okay.
trigger food is something that you really can't control. Like if you start to eat it, it's like potato chips. You can't eat just one or two potato chips. You got to eat the whole bag. And then there's like when you think of a trigger food, you have to think of like this is a red trigger food, which is a real high alert. Don't even have it in the house. And then there's like a green, and then there's a yellow, so to speak. So, or call it a blue where it's cooler. It's not so bad. What would be your trigger foods?
That's a good question because honestly, I don't think I have one specific thing. And I'll tell you what happens typically with me, because usually I'm seeing clients during the day, usually
Right,
during the week, up till 7, 8 o'clock most nights.
right, right.
So by the time I get home, and then my Kendall will usually go to bed early. Ethan's doing his own things. He's in his room
Yeah,
going to bed. But then that's when I'm like, okay, now I have alone time. Now I can catch up on a show I want to watch or
yeah.
do some reading I want. That's when I just will
Eat.
just mindlessly eat because it's
Yep.
been so long since I've eaten now. And that's the problem. If you wait too long to eat, then you're starving and then you're going to eat
I
anything that's in
know.
front of you.
I
And you
know.
don't have any limits at that point.
Yes, yes. So you don't really have a trigger food, one
I,
that
I
if
mean,
you
it
grab,
could honestly one night it could be chips if that's just something I have
oh,
available, but the next night I might eat three
cookie.
apples. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
oh,
So whatever it is, I just
oh, that's
yeah,
interesting.
so it's not one. And I will say, I mean, I do like I believe me, if you well you knew me back what
Oh, yeah,
almost 30 years ago. I was
yeah.
probably like 160 pounds
You
soaking
were
wet.
thin.
Yeah, I was,
Yeah,
I was a
yeah,
skinny punk, and so
yeah,
and I know with age, gradually our
yes,
physiology changes, our
yeah.
metabolism changes. So
It
yeah, I have to be more careful now than I ever have because before I could do whatever I wanted. It never affected me
right,
weight wise.
right, right. But that metabolism goes down as
Hmm.
we get older. Well, one of my terrible trigger foods, believe it or not, is popcorn.
Hmm.
Oh I used to be able, and oh God, if it's movie theater popcorn,
Oh, oh, okay. Now here's the question: when you get movie theater popcorn, do you put the butter on it?
I don't. But I don't know if that's
Oh,
good or not because I rationalize. I say, well, I don't have the butter on it. I
oh,
can refill this large tub of popcorn. And then I was, because I follow a program and I went in to weigh in and I gained weight, of course. And this is before the pandemic. And I was talking about popcorn, and she said, do you realize one large tub of movie theater popcorn is 1,400 calories?
oh.
Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, lady.
Now you're talking without butter.
Out butter.
That surprises me because
Isn't
people
it?
tend to think popcorn is kind of a
Healthy
safer
snack.
alternative.
So I used to refill the tub. I would walk out because what isn't a pound like 3,100 calories? I think that's a pound or that's close to it. I thought I would walk out gaining a pound from popcorn. What the hell?
Oh,
What the hell?
well, let me tell you, because I mean, and I don't. And here's the weird thing: I don't really like popcorn like at home, but if I go to the movies, I have to have it. It's just one of those things that goes with it. But this is, I'll just confess on air
Yeah.
that they butter it, but it's not nearly enough. So once I get my tub, I go over to the self butter thing and I rotate it in there till I think every piece is covered.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's pretty
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. And then the other thing for me is I'm Italian. I love sweets. Sweet, but it has to be chocolate. Don't waste my time with fruit like a fruit pie. Oh God, no. That's my husband. He'll make a raspberry pie, and I'm like, thank God, because I won't touch it.
Oh,
Chocolate.
oh, it's funny you say that. You know what I made over the weekend, and sometimes I'll go in these spurts where I just find something that I want.
Yeah.
I'll make it, and of course nobody else in my house likes it, so it's fine because then I get to eat all of them. But I've been making creme brulee.
Are you kidding?
No, no, mm-mm.
Isn't that hard?
No, it's not. Actually, it's not hard.
No, it's
It's really
not.
not that hard.
Oh, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Oh, okay. The hardest thing is, and it's not even hard. It's just you have to watch the cooking time, and it has to be a lower temperature for a longer time.
Ah, gotcha. Gotcha. Oh, that is, we have to look up the calorie count on crumble.
Oh, it's got to be. Well, I mean, because it's
Cream.
heavy cream, egg yolks, sugar. It's got to be. I
Oh,
mean,
it's gotta be good.
my heart's probably already yelling at me right now.
Anybody's listening and knows how many calories are in creme brulee, like shoot us a comment because I'm curious. It's got to be. And, I am the type that, like, say the biscotti that I made. Of course, I'm picking at the dough as I'm cooking. But if I eat that cookie, then I think, well, and this is so common with people who struggle with compulsive overeating or, any kind of eating disorder that you say, oh, well, I blew it. So I can go ahead and have another one. Next thing
Mhm.
you know, something that could have been a small issue. Oh, good. Jamie's back because I want to know what his trigger foods are.
Oh, well, I was going to tell you the calorie count on creme
What
brulee.
is it?
Oh, you have it.
One serving of 85 grams is 343 calories, 22 grams of fat.
So I probably shouldn't eat 2 or 3 at a sitting,
Probably not.
which is what I can do. I can do that.
It's
Probably
more
not.
than a candy bar.
Yeah.
Candy bars are like 250,
Well,
275.
yeah, but this tastes so much better than candy
Oh,
bar.
of course, I know. That's
Uh,
dangerous.
yes.
That's dangerous. Of course, as you heard, Jamie, we're talking about, the COVID-19, I'm going to call it the weight. Have you gained any weight, Jamie? You don't look like you have.
A little bit. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
touch.
I'm heavier right now in my life than I've ever been. So
Really?
yeah. I was a skinny mini
I
before.
was going to say, you never struggled with weight then. You
Yeah.
you must have always been.
I'm ginormous right now. And but like better made barbecue chips, family
You're salty.
size bag, 20 minutes on the couch and it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
You're a salt person.
Yeah.
That's what they usually say. You're a sweet or a salt, and I'm both.
I'm at everything. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, that stupid skinny pop, right? Big bold letters, skinny pop,
Yeah.
popcorn.
Lies.
I thought, well, this is good. This is Skinny Pop. It says only 35 calories a serving. So if you eat the whole bag, though, you ate 700 calories.
But and I'm sure we're going to get into this as far as specifics, but it's so important that you look at serving size per container, or serving size per container, because again, even a regular size bag of chips is I'm going to guess, because it's not in front of me, but I'm going to guess it's 6-8 servings. And you can easily knock a half of that out in
I know.
10-15 minutes.
I know. That's the problem. So a lot of people, clients have talked to me about it, and that people are gaining weight right now. People with food issues are struggling. And, I started to think about, well, we have all this added stress right now. We are more isolated. We are in the house all the time. Maybe it would be good if we kind of took a look at those stressors that people are going through that are feeding those food issues. And
Literally.
you already named one, and that's all the cooking and baking everyone's doing right now. I mean, that is, and for a lot of people, it's the way that we're taking care of our families and our relationships and ourselves during this time of isolation and stress and a lot of bad news. So the cooking and the baking are ways that we're kind of nurturing each other. And I know for myself, it even goes down to the smells. I love when those smells are going all day long in the house. It's just soothing. And the other thing is, some people, I decided to ask, clients this question: how many people are working in their kitchens? They got their computer in their kitchen and they're in their kitchen all the time. And I started to tell people, don't leave the food on the counter. Don't leave. I was doing that. I was leaving all the biscottis and the cookies and the breads and stuff on the counter, and you do a pass through and you're taking the bites.
Yeah, because it's readily available. It's just right in front of you.
Yeah. And those bites add up a lot.
I call it drive-by cookieing. There's you get that resealable Oreos cookie. And you zip it, and it's just one. You just having one, but you do that 5, 6, 7 times in the day. And,
there's no seal that's going to keep you out at that point.
No. So we got to get this stuff off the counters. We got to get it so we don't see it. Hey, Matt.
Well, hello.
What's going on, Matt?
I'm going on. Sorry, I'm a few moments late here, guys, for your recording. Appreciate
you're good.
Come on in. You guys are talking about trigger foods?
Yes.
Oh, no.
What's yours?
Okay, so the quarantine 15. Yeah, I am. That's me.
Yep.
Quarantine 15. So I got the quarantine cut, got the quarantine 15 going, and it's Twizzlers. It's all about the Twizzlers.
Oh, that's a car one.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have car ones that you always have those in the car. Yeah. That and pretzels.
Well, actually, that goes back to my movie one. It's the popcorn and the Twizzlers. It's like a double header. It really is.
Right.
I'm going to kill you if you planted that seed in my head.
You're welcome.
Oh, because those you can work at for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the shelled peanut.
Kind of like the shelled peanut. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So yeah, my trigger is Twizzlers.
Oh man, those are just dangerous. Those are dangerous because when you first look at it, kind of like I was telling these guys with the darn Skinny Pop, it doesn't look like that many calories. No. But when you start, chewing them down.
There you go.
No!
Right now.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about right now.
Can I try really quick?
Yeah,
that's funny.
The bag is nearly.
Oh, good for you.
Oh my gosh. Well, I talk to people a lot, and you do too, Dave, about emotional eating.
Mm-hmm.
And so now everybody's at home and you got the stress and all the different emotions going on, and it right in front of you, stimulating you all the time. It leads to that compulsive snacking, bites, binge eating, and unfortunately for some people who are really out of control with it, it can lead them into such distress where they are, throwing up or anorexia.
Yeah, definitely. If some definite
Getting
eating
that-
disorders can result from that. And the big thing is that we all have habits that we have locked in through years of living.
Yeah.
And again, some people do have this this emotional eating, and that's been this habit that's been developed, but I think everything's amplified now, and that's why we're talking about this today, because all of these emotions, all of these fears, all of the connections to need comfort are happening more right now because of this crisis.
Yeah, and that was the next point, is the desire for comfort. And again, to understand that there's a whole experience going on that is triggering these eating problems, and that the increase in the emotions, increase in the desire for comfort because of the emotions, being in the house and it's right in front of you and the smells are in front of you, and the, on the counter food is there to stimulate all your senses. It's making it so hard for people right now to not maintain their weight, or that they're gaining weight. And it's something that I think a lot of people are struggling with, and at varying degrees. Some people, it's really triggering their eating disorders, and they're gaining, a lot of weight, or their anorexia is kicking in. Other people, it's more of a mild to moderate, they're gaining I called it the COVID-19 19, but I think Matt just said the quarantine 15.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard that one yet. That's a new one to me.
Oh, well, you're welcome. That's just one.
I like that.
I started this, gosh, I was coming in about $1.99, and just yesterday I was at 212. So, I'm still riding the bike, and it's just that the cardio is just not doing enough. People might be doing exercise, it might be getting their exercise, but it's not what they're used to, where they would go to the gym and go weight training because that's a big part of the workout. Well, I always hear cardio makes you fat. Well, if you don't keep your heart rate moving and you're exercising the rest of your body, yeah, you're going to end up gaining a couple more pounds, even though you're exercising. So,
yep.
But it all comes down to diet too.
Yes. But, like they say with muscle mass, though, that burns calories much more efficiently than if you just don't do anything.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the need for comfort, and the point that he just made is, we are not moving around. We are not running back and forth in our jobs. We're not running back and forth to our cars. We're not running in and out of stores, loading kids. We're just not able to move at the pace that we were before this pandemic. And to make people aware of that, I think, is so important. When a tip is, and I just started to do this, when I have to go up the stairs to get something, I make myself go up, down, up, down. I do it a couple of times and then I go get my thing. I decided to add little things that I can do, when you're watching TV, to do the leg lifts or whatever, the plank. Little things, because we really are not moving like we used to be moving. And
well, and the whole idea of, and I'm not saying it you can't overcome this, but again, with this crisis, gyms have closed. If people were working out daily, their schedules are thrown off because they're either not working, or the kids are home, or it's just there's a million wrenches thrown into people's daily routines, and that routine may have included exercise, and now it's just not happening.
Right.
Or it's just not enough. I know people who are walking who are like, gosh, why am I still gaining weight? And I'm like, yeah, but you used to walk and run around all day long. it's hard to do it enough, or you have to at least be cognizant that you're not moving as much as you were. So it can't just be one walk. It has to be a couple walks a day. So, and the left, I don't know about you guys, because I'm cooking so much, the leftovers that are stacked in the fridge, instead of opening up the fridge and maybe having an egg salad sandwich, you see the prime rib you cooked the night before, the potato. I did a turkey dinner and I'm looking at turkey legs, which by the way, are very fattening. I don't know if you
I would think so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
A part of the turkey. I think that makes a difference as well.
Oh yeah, the dark meat, it's like 1,100 calories a leg.
That's it?
What did you have, like Renaissance fair turkey legs? Like they were like clubs?
They were huge. I don't know why. I am so freaking Italian. I bought, when I was out getting ready for this stay at home, I bought a 25-pound turkey. We have a family of 4. I normally do that for when I have like 14 people over. I'll get a 25-pound bird. So I never thought, like, don't get the same bird you always buy. So when I pulled it out, my husband looked at it and went, what the hell are we going to do with this thing?
I can imagine it's like turkey gumbo, turkey giblets, turkey sandwiches, turkey casserole, turkey soup. We got
everything. And it truly, I do think that there's, in Italians that are listening, there's a defect in our brain, because one time we did a Christmas thing and we were having like 40 people for my husband's, he works at Ford. I decided to do a thing for all of his people. I went and bought a ham and I said to the butcher, get me the biggest ham you got. I got a lot of people coming, and I never gave him the number. Well, I got a ham that was like 30 pounds. This ham was, and then I didn't realize you got the top layer that's cut up for you, and then you flip it over and you have another layer of ham. I had so much freaking ham. I couldn't give it. I gave tons away. It was unbelievable.
Mary Grace, you strike me as a person that over prepares. Would that be a fair assumption?
Yes. Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that, really.
Oh, yeah. My poor husband goes nuts because I told him our dining room was, we had tables upon tables of food. And if you ever are on Facebook and you see what Italians are like when they have a party, because they're so frightened somebody's going to be hungry. It's just ridiculous. And it was like a potluck dinner and people were bringing things, but I had said to my husband, now listen, sometimes people don't bring things. So we have to make enough in case nobody brings food. Everybody brought stuff. People could barely move in the room because there was so much freaking food. It's the Italian way. Any Italian out there would know what I'm talking about.
And this goes back to these mental these memories, these connections, feelings. Now, and again, not everybody's had this growing up as kids, but typically that's when family gathers and Christmas and
oh my God,
and that all gets associated with those good feelings, and that's where that emotional eating comes from.
It pulls pulls you and sucks you in. And then it hangs you up. Unfortunately, it really is, not good. Now, if we were to like talk about how do we help ourselves with all of this, and I'm not sure if you do this, Dave, but with any form of addiction, I do what's called cycle work, where you really have to get to know your eating cycles and what your trigger is. And a trigger again is something that gets your brain to go, oh, I need something. And you want to know what foods are triggers, the foods that say, oh my God, if you give it to me, I won't be able to stop.
Right.
And also what your emotional triggers are. So I know for me, if I get angry and I'm home, when I hang up, if I'm talking to somebody or if I've, yelled at somebody in the house, I walk right into the kitchen. And so you want to get to know some people. It's boredom. Boredom can be
Oh, absolutely. Sure. Because if there's nothing else to do, eating is the easiest thing to do because you're
exactly.
Occupies your time.
So when you're trying to understand what is my cycle with overeating, you want to again know the trigger foods. You want to know what emotions, you want to list the emotions that tend to get you to eat. And you want to like just write them down and really get to know them so that you can go, oh, that's what I'm like. That's what I do when I'm angry or upset. And then the third part of it is when you are in an overeating cycle, and we're going to break that down even more, but the role of defeat by not being able to maintain your weight,
Right.
the role of, and we don't hear enough about this, Dave, but the role of defeat in the brain that makes you binge more, that makes you go after it. It's defeat and self-abuse.
Yep. And shame.
Shame. Yes. Guilt and shame. That shame spiral, we call it in the field. That when you look in the mirror, you say something nasty to yourself. You're not nice. You call yourself fat. You do these abusive words in your head at yourself. And that will make you eat more. You get low. So you've got the emotional trigger that gets you upset, that makes you want to go into the kitchen and eat something. And then you do. And if you grab a trigger food, then you're eating way too much of it. And then if you get a defeatist attitude, like, oh, what the hell, I already screwed up. It doesn't matter today.
I already ate 10 cookies. Why not eat 20 more? It doesn't matter at this point.
Exactly. And now you're getting into a nice compulsive overeat, not nice, that was flippant, a compulsive overeating spiral. And you're going to go spiraling downward. And that cycle can, especially that defeatist part, you get really upset with yourself. You go to bed and you get up in the morning. And if you get up and look in the mirror and start to say negative things to yourself, and some people do this so well they don't even hear it.
Oh no, it's automatic. It's just this constant loop that plays, and they don't even. Half the time they're not even conscious of it.
No, they're not. And that's the key I want everyone to hear. I want you to get so conscious of what it is you do and what feeds it. Because the more you're aware of it, you'll have control. It's like any issue that we deal with, right, Dave?
Well, and again, and what we call this is mindfulness training.
Yeah.
It's being aware of what you're thinking. It's being aware when that thought or that feeling pops up, and knowing it's there. You have to be mindful of it.
Yes.
You don't know it's happening.
Yes.
It's just going to be an automatic behavior at that point.
Exactly. And so like a good example of a cycle, like if I were to play out, a cycle, if I gave you a cycle that I've done before myself. So I even noticed during the pandemic, so I put on, I don't even know how much weight. This week was better for me, but going to bed, I remember I have this real long mirror in my room, and going to bed, I looked in the mirror and I caught myself saying, oh my God, how much weight have you gained? Jesus. And then I started to relax, and I was watching a show and I thought, oh, I can't believe I ate that today. Oh my God, I can't believe I ate it. And then I thought, well, I screwed up. Well, I sure could go for a bowl of cereal. Oh, that's another trigger food for me.
I love cereal. Although I do, again, I don't know if there's such a thing as healthy cereal, but I do try to stick, to things like Cheerios. I mean, again, I know there is still sugar in that. I know, but it's better than.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that rationalizing. We will do, oh, it's Raisin Bran. Then you look at the ingredients, like you said earlier. Really look at ingredients, people, because you'll be shocked. that, it's got a lot of calories. And when I'm saying that to myself, and then I go downstairs and I get that bowl of cereal, it's not a single serving, it's a double serving, or some people can do a triple serving of cereal. Then I get back into bed and I say to myself, God, why did I do that? Okay. And this is what we talked about with shame spirals. I am on a shame spiral.
Yep.
And the next day I say, you know what, when I get up in the morning, I'm getting back on program and I'm going to do the right thing. And I don't do bad during breakfast, but I might get on a conference call, or I might, deal with, some stressful issue, get mad. And next thing I know, without thinking of it, I'm in the kitchen and I'm like, oh, what do I want? I've got to have something that's a carb, a soothing food, like you mentioned earlier, Dave. And so now I'm gearing up. I'm upset. I'm not sitting down talking to somebody. The one great thing is, for all of us, we talk about isolation. I'm not isolated. And so I'll grab the cookies that are on the counter. And next thing, and I'll circle through again because I'm still pissy, and I'll grab another cookie and I'll say, well, I screwed it up again today. And now my spiral is starting to intensify, and it gets worse. Well, I screwed up today. How about if we get Mexican food for dinner? That is not on my plan.
And yes, you're right. And that spiral then builds and it continues.
Yes.
And eventually, and again, it's different for the time frame, but that becomes habit, and it's much harder to break a habit once it's established.
Oh, it's so hard.
It's just so hard to break out of it once it's there.
Yes. And we're talking about food right now, but I want people to insert any kind of addiction in this
absolutely
work as well. Alcohol, tech, shopping. That this cycle in alcoholism recovery, they teach you to get to know your relapse cycles, like, because it starts way before you take the
absolutely
drink. There are usually, intense feelings going on. Boredom is one of them. Fear is another. We keep talking about the role of fear in a lot of things we do, which is a normal emotion, just like anything else. But, and then instead of you struggling with compulsive eating for one day, it goes to 2 days and 3 days. And then you look in the mirror again and go, oh my God, I gained more weight. Here goes the loop again. And
I think we all have that, and this is a thing that also plays into it, which just complicates it. And this may come into the rationalization area, but, people might think, oh yeah, it looks like I put on a couple pounds. They said, but if I get 10 pounds over where I want to be, then I'm going to do something about it. They always put the goal out in front of them to say, okay, I have to do something, but if I get to this point, I'm going to do something.
Exactly.
And it just kind of pushes it off. And I get that. I get that it's like, okay.
And then you go and throw on that pair of jeans and it's tight and your mood just goes boom, downward. And you're mean to yourself. And here comes the harsh words, words that you would not say to anybody else.
Oh no, we can be the worst with ourselves. I mean,
oh yeah. Yes.
And sometimes we need some of that self-talk just to say, stop it. Just stop it.
Exactly. That's, I often talk about be the good parent. Like when the behavior's out of control, say to yourself, oh, you need to stop. Whatever's going on, you got to figure it out, because you don't need to be eating your second bag of popcorn. You don't need to be eating any more cookies. It's really, and that gets into that mindless eating too, where some people will describe like, geez, I was sitting there and I hate to keep using popcorn, guys, but I keep thinking about families being home and watching movies. And next thing you know, the family's gone through like 3 big, huge bowls of popcorn because you're just mindlessly eating and unaware of, is this a movie that's triggering you? Are you stressed out? Are you, what's going on?
Well, and these are cycles again that have built since childhood. If the kids are being crazy, here, have some candy, or you can do, we do this with our pets. If if my dogs get annoying, I'm like, here's some food, stop whining.
Yep. Or here's a treat. You've done a good thing.
We always rewarded with food or meant to be distracted by food. Like, okay, here, go away and eat this.
Yes, exactly. Okay, Matt, you're smiling.
Yeah. I actually ran into that just over the past week. Pringles were on sale at Meijer. 3 of them on sale for $5. And it's in the and that's some of that for me, it's on sale. I'm gonna get it because that's a comfort food.
Yep.
And next thing you know, I'm watching a show with my wife and I go through just about half the thing of Pringles.
Oh yeah.
And not even realizing until I look down and I'm like, oh geez, what did I just do? It's being self-aware of what you're doing and catching yourself. If you're self-aware, that's all for me. That's step one. It's just to recognize what's happening. So
that's right.
And I was at the grocery store tonight, and guess what was on sale? Pringles. Guess what I didn't get? Pringles. So it
good for you. You had control.
But then there's this other vice. So what are you gonna do?
Yes. Yeah. And that was the other thing that in the beginning of this pandemic, and to really look at some of the things that the pandemic really intensified for people in the beginning of this whole thing, when all of us were shopping and not knowing how long am I going to be home. I remember going through, holy crap, it's not my husband and myself and my son who lives at home too, but he's a high schooler. So half the time he's there for dinner, half the time he's not because he does theater stuff. All of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, everybody's going to be home. I got to buy a lot of food. I don't have enough to feed. I mean, this is every single meal. And so I started to admit I did some frantic shopping. Like, what are we, I got to figure out breakfast and dinner and lunch and snacks. And she's picky and she likes this and my son likes this. So that whole kind of frantic shopping and with this subconscious, like, I want to nurture, I got to get a lot of flour. I got to get chocolate chips. I got to get, all of these things that, man, if I could have taken a breath, I would have thought differently and figured out different ways to nurture other than making, biscotti. So it's that frantic pressure or that franticness that comes from shame is a real key thing to be aware of when you are somebody who compulsively eats, whether it's frequent or infrequent. So that's a good example of a cycle that people go through when they eat, and really write it down, like list emotions that you feel that makes you eat. And if you're not aware, keep a little notebook right there in the kitchen. And if you're going in to pick, before you pick, you might still eat, but at least the first step is to write down, okay, why am I in this kitchen and why am I about to pick? What's the emotion? Am I bored?
Right.
Did I just come out of a meeting that just really stressed me out and pissed me off? What the heck? Why am I in this kitchen? And then another thing, it's an old one. Before you grab that food, drink some water. Because it just cools and calms you down. It has a reaction in the body, not just dietitians say it fills up your stomach, but there is this slowing down that it helps you to do when you're stressed out and feeling upset by something. Sometimes I do forget the water, but I do walk around with water bottle. So the cycle, get to know the emotions. So list the emotions that make you eat. Get to know the kind of shaming you do. Watch yourself, pay attention when you're looking in the mirror, pay attention when you're putting on clothes. Everybody's on Zoom right now or FaceTime and they're seeing themselves. Notice if you say a snotty thing to yourself. That's all a part of getting to know your cycle. And then I always do arrows, you know, oh my gosh, I'm so pissed off. I want to go eat this. I'm feeling arrow. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling pissed. Arrow. I want chips. I want chips because I, you know, need something soothing right now. And once you get to know your cycle, there's the mindfulness that Dave identified earlier, building your awareness. You actually, when you get to know these cycles, you'll have enough awareness to say, okay, I need to slow down the impulsivity. Impulsivity is a problem, especially with addiction. You get something that goes off in the body, you don't look like how uncomfortable it is, boom, you want to go and do something and put it in your mouth, quiet you, shut you up, soothe you, comfort you very, very quick. Key goal, slow down your impulses. That's another big thing. If you're finding yourself walking fast in the kitchen, do a little change. If you don't think you can't eat something, walk slow into the kitchen, take a nice deep breath, sit down before you grab something, take a few notes.
Yep.
Right, Dave?
And there are always ways to redirect your thinking. And that
Yes.
really is what we're trying to do. We're trying to do it with, it's a pattern interrupt. We're interrupting this pattern that you're starting to build.
Yes.
Now, it's interesting because I do a lot of work with clients with hypnosis for weight management. And I always like to say weight management because even the term weight loss indicates that there's a problem. And again, that there could be, but that doesn't necessarily mean that.
Yes.
So I always like to say, you know, if you want to manage your weight, and at the end today, I'll follow up with this at the end because maybe we can put a link on because I will actually link that to one of my weight loss products.
Yes. Oh, great.
Hypnosis for weight management. But one of the suggestions I give people once I have them hypnotized, they're not major, how do I put this? They're not life-changing things that I'm telling them.
No.
These are very simple things that will make you more mindful.
Yes.
If you're at a table and you're eating, every time you take a bite, put your utensil down.
Yeah. And take a breath.
Put it down.
Yes. Yes.
Feel yourself. Concentrate on your chewing.
Yes. Yes. That's
thing.
Another big one.
We don't want people to think that food is a bad thing.
No.
You can enjoy it in the right way.
Yeah, that's right.
When you're chewing, just take your time and enjoy it. That's what it's for.
Yes. Yes.
There's a sense too of, and you'll know this when I say it, I think, because everybody has done this. The Thanksgiving dinner or the Christmas dinner, when, you know, after dinner, everybody gets out in the living room, they undo the first button of their pants. They're just way overserved.
Yes.
And that is way past being satisfied.
Yes.
And that's the other thing. You have to realize when you're eating, when are you satisfied? When are
yes.
You don't want to be full because full is too far.
Yes.
You want to be satisfied. Right. Feel like I'm not hungry anymore.
That's right. And what can affect the inner pressure to go to full versus satisfied to get to know that?
Yep.
That, you know, am I worried that I'm not going to eat again until, you know, because some people, their schedules are all messed up. I'm not going to be able to eat again for like 8 hours. So I want to be full. Oh, well, if that's going on, how come you don't have a protein bar in your purse?
Well, and this goes back to little things that you can do. And again, I know this seems like a lot of work, but if you just plan what you're going to eat, and this is where most of us fall into this problem. Both, like say both parents work, or the couples, they both work, they get home, what's for dinner? I don't know. What do you want? I don't know. What do you want?
Yeah.
And it ends up being junk because that's the only thing that you can do at that point. I've even said to people, actually put a menu up on your refrigerator, just like the school menus come home with for your kids. Make one for home.
Yep. Yep.
When you shop for these meals for this week.
Yeah.
Make sure they're balanced and have, you know, enough vegetables and fruit and all of the things that you should be eating.
Yes. And don't, for those people who are really busy, I could just hear them saying, oh, I don't have time. It's like what I tell them to do when journaling. Don't fill that menu with details. Like
No.
make it it's going to be a chicken dish. It's going to be hamburgers.
Yep.
It's going to be
spaghetti
tonight. We're going to have a roast tonight. It's crock pot. Because once you get it out there and have it there, you're going to follow it.
And it sounds counterintuitive because people think, oh man, that's a lot of work. But I'm telling you, think about what you usually go through where you're trying to decide and the kids are hungry and
all that
don't
energy.
know what to make, and that stress that you go through just with that process every single day. And you're eliminating that because you know.
Yeah.
And schedule a night to say, okay, Wednesdays, we're going to order out from this place.
Yeah. Yeah.
That way, nobody has to make any decisions. It's already written out for you.
Yeah. And if you don't interrupt, if you don't become aware of what it is that you do, we call it the relapse cycle. Your binging or your compulsiveness will continue. And all of that sugar and carbs, it feeds lethargy. It feeds that groggy, I'm not motivated, oh, I must be depressed. And it doesn't mean you aren't depressed, but you're depressed not just from the emotions that you're not dealing with. You're depressed because of the foods you ate bring you down. And again, if we put in alcohol, which is a depressant, you feed yourself with too much alcohol, that is a depressant. And so that lethargy is a real danger to people who are trying to lose weight. So you have to understand what feeds that.
Well,
The longer you're in a cycle, it's going to get worse and worse and worse.
And what do our depressed clients say when they come in? When you tell them, listen, you need to regulate your sleep pattern, you need to eat better, and you need to exercise. Those are the first three things we want to address.
Motivated. Yeah.
And they just think, oh, I just can't get motivated.
I don't have the energy.
Yep, I don't have the energy. I just can't
Yep.
myself do it.
Yep. And we look at the emotional side. Yep. And then we look at what energy foods are you eating? Are you eating the proteins or are you just focused on the carbs? Do you know what protein foods are? When you're hungry, what are you grabbing? And you have to, I always tell my clients, it's like after I had my kids, I had like 50 pounds to lose. I was a big girl when I was pregnant, real big girl. You'd have been shocked, Dave. And I remember the day that I drove to the program and I thought, this sucks. I got to go in there. It sucks to get involved in a program. It sucks driving there. It sucks getting on the scale. Own it, accept it, do it anyway. That's so important. If you wait to be comfortable to do any of this, it ain't going to happen, people.
That's any hard thing. That's with any difficult thing. If you wait until you feel comfortable, it'll never happen. It just doesn't.
That's right. That's right.
And here's the other thing I want to emphasize too. If you are struggling with managing your weight, because here's the other quick thing, and I know we're close on time here, but people see themselves and they think, oh my gosh, I have to lose. In their head, they're thinking I have to lose 40 pounds, and that just seems insurmountable to them. And listen, we can't get caught up in numbers. In fact, I tell my clients that come in to see me for hypnosis, for weight management, I'm like, get rid of your scale. Just get rid of it. It's just going to cause you problems. It's just going to make you overthink. It's going to discourage you. Just get rid of it, because if you do the things you're supposed to do, there's no reason to look at that every day, because you'll notice, you'll feel better. It'll just be, you'll know it when it's happening.
And the key to maintaining weight loss is you have to know how to take care of yourself when you're fumbling, when you're falling down. You have to know how to deal with defeat and struggle. When I first lost 50 pounds, I never had a weigh-in that I didn't lose weight. and I gained weight back. And I remember thinking, I don't know how to maintain weight, because maintenance is no longer everyone telling you how great you look and getting all the positivity.
Right.
It's the drudgery of each week being tempted and gaining a little and then having to take it off. Those falls are so important.
And that's the whole, and again, I'm not, how do I put this? I'm not saying diets are a bad thing, but a diet doesn't resolve your issues long term.
No,
you have to have a change in lifestyle.
You do.
Because the term diet insinuates that there's a beginning and an end. So when people are on diet, in their mind, they're thinking, well, I'm on it now, but I can be off it, and then I can go back to it. It doesn't psychologically. That's just not. It doesn't work. It just teases you.
That's right. That's right. I want to give people some tips to help themselves really quick. Do not shame or abuse yourself.
Yep.
You are going to set yourself up for going and eating again, because now you felt like crap to begin with, and you're making yourself feel even crappier. You know, instead of abusing yourself, you need to say, gosh, I don't do this unless I'm really upset. I don't eat like this unless I'm stressed out. I got to journal. I got to talk to people.
Right.
I've got to do something to figure out why I'm doing this. Know your trigger foods, which we already covered. Don't isolate. Find a chubby buddy.
Well, it's easy. It's easy to eat when you're alone.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
My wife will find 5 empty chip bags in the garbage can in my office, or
Yep. And find a buddy. I did this, last year, where my buddy and I texted each other all of the food we ate each day, and then what our exercise was for the day. And when you have to answer to somebody, it makes you much more accountable. And you can
it's like having a workout buddy.
Yes.
Same thing.
Yes. So don't isolate. Stop watching too much news. We talk about this with every issue, but especially during this time of pandemic.
It drives stress, and it drives anxiety.
Yes. And then the emotions are so overwhelming. So stop watching. Move. If you don't think you can get out and walk just yet, do what I do. Walk the stairs an extra time each time you have to go upstairs or downstairs. Do the plank while you're watching a show. Do the leg lifts. Do the old-fashioned jumping jacks. And I don't know if people still do that, but it gets the heart rate going. Move in little ways that when you go to sit down, you go, oh, I'm kind of proud of myself that I did that.
Well, and you probably know this because Tony Robbins is famous for his change your physiology, you change your emotion. If you're feeling that way, just jump up and just scream and pump your arm immediately. Just that. You're going to sit down and you're going to be like, wow, I feel better.
Yes. And there you're getting into the hypnotist stuff. I mean, as you know, with hypnotism, it's effective because the brain wants to travel on this very rooted pathway that it's used to. When you do a movement like that, you went and took that brain and you said, nope, come over here.
Right.
Come over here. And that's highly effective.
Oh yeah. And again, that's an actual technique in hypnosis is we call a shock induction. It's shocking the brain because it's being short circuited, not in a like physiological way.
Yeah.
But
I just want to say one more thing about that, because that is so important. I've worked with so many rape survivors who get into these wonderful relationships, and they go to be with their partners who they know are these good people, and they're safe and they're wonderful. But especially when they really start to feel safe, they can get triggered in a relationship. And so they want to physically, intimately be with them, but their panic or something hits. And I always tell them, shock your brain. Let your partner know what you're going through. Let them in on that you're triggered. Get up and do jumping jacks. And they start to laugh. And I always say, that's why I want you to do it. You will start to laugh and get out of that pathway that is so triggering, that trigger pathway that is so upsetting for you.
In the way I like to describe it too, I know we're close here, but your conscious brain, and this is not physiological, this is not biological. I'm just using this terminology figuratively. The front part of your brain is your conscious brain. The back part is your subconscious. The subconscious is where all of our habits are stored. In between those two sections is a brick wall. The only way to get through that brick wall is either trauma or shock. Something beating on that wall a million times until you can finally get through.
Yes, that's right.
Or doing something like hypnosis, where your brain is relaxed enough so that wall comes down.
That's right. That's right. So let's get through this list. Get to know your emotions, which we talked about in the beginning of the podcast. Write down your food cycles, which we talked about. Have a food plan to follow, which is, whether a menu or joining a program, or don't do anything extreme. It will bite you in the butt. You will gain the weight. No one can maintain any form of extreme dieting. Freeze leftovers. That's a little tidbit. A lot of things freeze, even egg beaters freeze and cheese freezes.
Milk does too.
What?
Milk.
I did not know that, Matt.
So if you're getting close to the expiration date and you still have a gallon left, freeze it. That's when my wife did that, and we have a gallon of milk downstairs I forgot about. It's still down there.
Oh my, I knew that apple juice freezes or cider freezes. You just take a little bit off the top and stick it in the freezer if you're not going to get to it. But I didn't know about milk.
Yeah.
I try freezing my beer all the time. It doesn't quite work.
Pop.
Yeah.
Pop, pop.
It tastes good though.
Write your feelings down, people, before you eat. Drink water. And if you need support, if you are isolated, get a hold of a therapist, of course. Join us.
I know two really good ones.
Yeah,
absolutely.
David Wright and MG.
And here's the thing. Let me just emphasize that last one. Really, again, I know that we've repeated this. This is probably a theme. That's fine. Therapy is all about changing your thinking. When you change your thinking, behaviors and physical results follow. That's all. And I'm simplifying it, but that's what it is.
Yeah. Don't let your crap control you. Take control of your crap. Because that crap is a freaking pain in the ass. So it's time to move it through. All right. I know we're a minute over. So those are the tips to help all of us get through.
So real quick, in the link, it'll either be on the Facebook page or on the podcast page. I'll put a link for my hypnosis for weight management, so people can find that.
Great.
Where do they find it at? What is the name of the Facebook page?
It's motorcityhypnotist.com. So if you go there and you go to I believe it's a shop page, you can find all of my products there, so that you can find it on there as well.
Yes. And now you can find us through Spotify and Pandora and Apple Podcast and and our Facebook page, Psyched by MG, Motor City Hypnotist.
Facebook.
You can find some of our podcasts on YouTube.
And of course, Podcast Detroit.
Podcast Detroit, of course. Plug Podcast Detroit.
We have to.
Guys. And like I said, next week we got Jed Diamond on the show. Other than that, I think we're now winding up here. So thank you. Oh, and please subscribe to our podcast.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now that we're all out there. So please hit that subscribe and those like buttons. We really appreciate that. And message us and let us know your thoughts. We'll, look at what your needs are and maybe do a show on it.
Yeah. If people have suggestions, definitely let us know. Great. I mean, we'll do a show on anything.
Oh yeah, almost
challenge us.
Oh, you better watch that you said that. Oh God, no.
I'm just interested what may come in.
Oh, dude, give us ideas. I had an interesting one. I'll share it after the show.
All right, guys, have a great week. Be safe.
Yes, be safe.
See you next Friday.
Hey, guys.